You too, thank you.
He's going to ask you a question. You don't say anything else other than the answer. Okay?
Casey, based on our conversation today, and I read you that form, basically just same thing I said to Mr. Baez over the phone. If there's been numerous requests for opportunities to speak with us and come to a resolution here. And that's why we brought you here instead of the jail. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, based on your request for us to call him and bring him here, he's here. So what we're going to try to do is give you a few minutes somewhere that's not recorded. No secrets, I told you. This room's recorded. I have to be able to approach my chain and explain why. But first, I needed you to tell him, in your own words, if you will, that you'd like to take the opportunity to deal with us like you've made that request in the past. So, is that something you want to tell him?
I told him the same thing we talked about before, that we would entertain any questions that they have. We would listen and discuss it, and if we have something to respond, we'll respond.
Okay, do you want to speak to me in private?
Yes.
So we can clarify this?
Yes.
Okay.
Hang tight, let me get your room. They're going to let you out. Just
Oh, I was just going to stand up for a second. I've been sitting for an hour. Thank you. Thanks.
Come on. Have a seat. We had a discussion.
Okay.
You want to discuss that with her?
She knows.
Okay.
I'll just go ahead and state for the record that she's invoking her right to counsel, and at this time wishes to request to go to the jail and be processed.
And we agreed upon that at 4:22 in the afternoon already.
Yes.
That's why we called him. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
You have any?
No questions.
Okay, super. We'll be right with you.
They're going to take you.
Remember, you're... Why did you wait so many years? Yeah, we'll put him, I'll tell you what. Actually, you know what? No. And this didn't work. I don't have one. Years.
Don't need him. We were terrorism. I don't.
This way, so you don't have to throw my camera.
Okay, Casper.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. Oop, we need this.
Don't lose
Nick
that.
Savage, the gentleman.
We need that. Take this and the radio.
Trust me, I've done worse things.
Okay, well, let's head out. After you, ma'am. Make it right. Johnny downstairs.
CAYLEE Anthony has been arrested, charged with killing her 3-year-old daughter CAYLEE, even though the child's body has not been found. The little girl was last seen 4 months ago, and an exhaustive search has failed to turn up any signs of her. Investigators say they are convinced that CAYLEE Anthony was murdered. A Florida grand jury indicted CAYLEE Anthony on charges of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter, and 4 counts of lying to investigators.
Evidence continues to mount in the search for a missing Florida toddler, but it could be weeks before human remains found Thursday can be conclusively linked to 3-year-old CAYLEE Anthony. Still, according to the Orange County Sheriff, investigators believe some clues do link the human remains to the missing child. A utility worker found the skull Thursday morning in a wooded area just blocks from the girl's grandparents' home. In 911 calls released Friday, it's apparent that this was a lead police were waiting for.
What's the location?
It's right off of Suburban and Chickasaw in the Kelly Anthony area, right by the
school. Do you have a specific address for me or not?
No, it's right by the school. If you take it,
you are.
Yeah, he's
Suburban and Goldenwood. And what is your party's name that we're going to meet with? He's not touching this, I hope.
No,
and he's a
meter reader.
Meter reader. And if you can, try to stress to him to please not draw attention to the area.
Okay.
And that would be great, just in case it is something. It may be nothing, but just in case.
Despite the lack of a body, CAYLEE Anthony's mother, 22-year-old Casey Anthony, had already been charged with first-degree murder in the disappearance of her daughter. Anthony's attorneys say she is struggling with news of the remains that were discovered and has been placed under observation but not on a suicide watch. Leonard Padilla, a bounty hunter who had at one time bailed Casey Anthony out of jail, calls the discovery bittersweet.
And no doubt in your mind this is CAYLEE?
No doubt in my mind. None whatsoever.
And why is that?
Because of the proximity of the body and the fact that some people said things at the time they found the body. There's no doubt about it.
Investigators once more searched the Anthony home for more clues, while CAYLEE's grandparents waited at a nearby hotel. They returned to their home late Friday, awaiting further news from police. Ross Simpson, The Associated Press.
Meanwhile, we continue to follow the depositions in the Zenaida Gonzalez lawsuit. Just yesterday, George and Cindy Anthony answered questions in that case. Now, a body language expert came into the News 13 studios, and she says George is near his breaking point, and his wife Cindy is also feeling pretty stressed out. All this after watching the video of the Anthony's depositions. News 13's Jacqueline Fell is joining us from the newsroom with one expert's thoughts on what the two are saying with their body language. Jacqueline?
Ebeth, Susan Constantine says that by watching the video from yesterday's depositions, she sees that the criminal and the civil cases against Casey Anthony are really taking a toll on her parents. And, understandably so. We watched yesterday's deposition in the defamation case, and Constantine says that she sees hostility from Cindy, but sadness from George.
I'm sad, I'm over it, I'm disgusted, and he closes his eyes and he's got a very strong feeling there. It's emotional. He's saying, I emotionally have had enough.
Body language expert Susan Constantine says George Anthony is sad. In Thursday's deposition, George showed a lot of emotions.
He tilts his head to the side, and this is one that says, hey, I'm not going to give you any information. He's aloof, and he's also showing arrogance. Then when he tapped into, okay, I've got one more question, he became defensive. He pulled his body language back.
I'm not going to be able to handle this too much longer, Brad.
And he's being very honest with you right here, because did you see where his head turned to the side? I can't handle this much longer. And he really can't. I think that he is at his breaking point here, and that really concerns me about his mental state.
She says this may be weighing on him so much because he wants to believe his daughter. Constantine says so does Cindy, but instead of showing signs of sadness, Constantine says Cindy is angry.
The top region of her face, her eyes are very fixed and stared-like, and her eyebrows go up. That's anger, okay? Now, when I take the paper and do just the opposite and look at the bottom region of her face, the mouth goes horizontal, and that's frustration and anger as well. She can't keep her mouth quiet. She just can't. She doesn't have control of that emotion.
Constantine says you can see the toll it's taking on Cindy physically.
But you can see her skeletal muscles, her cheekbones, you can see it in her neck. She's really gone through the loop here. She's gone through quite a bit. She's lost a lot of weight. She's also, to me, she doesn't look that healthy.
Constantine says while George continues to try to recover from the death of CAYLEE, he's wrestling with his own emotions. But his wife, Cindy, who Constantine says is mentally stronger, is just fighting to stick with the story she's heard from Casey. Just to give an interesting side point of what's going on here, Constantine really looked at how they reacted to certain questions too. She said that George, when he didn't want to answer something, he would just kind of close his eyes, say, you know what, I don't want to talk about this, I want to leave. But Cindy went into that meeting yesterday sort of like, I'm in control, and a lot of times you saw her and the attorney, John Morgan, kind of saying, I'm going to do this my way. Just some interesting things about body language and things that we don't typically notice. Reporting in the newsroom, Jacqueline Fell, News 13.